Good evening and a warm welcome to this evening's edition of Performance Transformation with Naresh Makhijani. In our previous episodes, we talked about organization transformation, strategy and strategic planning, Balanced Scorecard and its successful execution. In tonight's episode, we talk about the most important asset of the organization, its people. With a population of 240 million people, we still talk about not having enough people in our organizations. We talk about not having their hearts and soul at workplace. We talk about lack of productivity. We talk about lack of employee engagement. In this regard, we caught up with Mr. Ajai Singh, a leading consultant who specializes in the area of employee engagement and leadership development, and asked him what is employee engagement all about.
Naresh, if I go back in time and recall about the fact of the first time really employees were really looked at as really contributing to the outcome of the financial results of the company was really the conclusive work done by Sears, and it was called the Sears profit chain, where they found out that if the employees were engaged in the organization significantly, then they've really directly contributed to the customers being looked after well, and that the customers kept coming back to them, and there was a direct link to profitability.
It will be very useful for organizations to know the level of employee engagement and to work towards improving it so they can get better productivity and hence better profitability. So how do you know the level of employee engagement? How do you measure it?
Like I said earlier, one of the things is that you can go to one of the big companies, which such as Gallup, etc., and ask them to do the survey for you. The advantage is that you get a benchmark against the various, because they have a large database. Like I said, 5.4 million is the last database of Gallup, and they give you across industry as to where the benchmarks are. However, a lot of companies believe that having a benchmark is not enough, because a benchmark is really not leading them to find out where the real problem lies. And they want to now begin to dig deeper than just the Q12. They want to find out which manager and what kind of actions does the manager take or do that is preventing his employees from being productive. And therefore, they are now getting into customized surveys rather than just going for a blanket, off the cuff, off the table kind of a survey.
So what is the actual process of implementing an employee engagement survey? What does it look like?
The actual process of implementation, if you look at it, is and the methodology that I follow and I recommend also to my clients is, firstly, define what is it that you're wanting to measure, which is really the main thing. And I might take my inspiration from George Labovitz's book called The Power of Alignment. So definition of the main thing is really important. What are you trying to achieve as part of the survey? And then, of course, you look at the dependent variables, then you look at the critical success factors, and then you go on to look at, what would be the economic imperative of these actions. At the end of the day, any diagnostic that you're using, you need to have it directly correlated to the economic outcome of the survey. Because if your actions are not economically linked, then again, it's all about making me feel good about where I am, but not really doing much to the bottom line.
Ajay, you explained well about who is an engaged employee. Let me ask the flip side. Who or what is a disengaged employee?
Well, a disengaged employee it has a lot of negatives to attach to him. They are sort of not really interested in the job. They are usually biding time. They come there only to produce as much as expected out of them and no more. Whereas an engaged employee is really working on 110, 120% of their normal productivity. All of us are capable of doing far more than we naturally do. So it's only when we are, why is it that when we go out for a weekend, do we have all that fun? Because suddenly we get ourselves engaged into that whole activity. If we can find the same kind of engagement at work, then you can imagine the place work becomes a great place to work.
Can you give some examples or case studies where employee engagement survey was done and the management actually got some real benefits?
I don't know whether it will be fair to take names of companies right here, but yes, let's take a company like GE, for instance, and this is, I'm quoting Jack Welch. Jack Welch himself says that if an organization is not doing an employee engagement survey on an annual basis, then they are missing out big time. And he recommends at least once a year. I have IT companies and I have some smaller organizations which do an engagement survey once a quarter. One of my clients does an engagement every quarter. However, my recommendation is that they do it department by department, because trying to have even the whole organization of about 700 people respond to the whole survey every quarter, again then fatigue sets in. So we do it department by department periodically. So we are seeing whether the whole company over the year is completely engaged or not. And since and we are monitoring the temperature through those departments as to how, because we remember this, departments are interdependent. They are not acting in silos. And you are able to really judge the temperature of the organization by finding out as to how happy they are with some of their other departments when you're taking the survey.
With that, we come to the end of tonight's episode. Tonight, we talked about employee engagement, what it is all about, why companies need it, how to use it, what are the benefits of using it, and how it is so critical for our organizations now. We heard an expert in this area, Mr. Ajai Singh, who shared his knowledge and experiences on it. We'll be back again next week, same time, same place. Let me wish you a good week ahead and good night.